Let's begin by offering our respects to ISKCON founder Acharya and our preeminent Shiksha Guru, His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai.
Jai.
Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Iti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swa Padantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Saha Gana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha. Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute. Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye. Vancha kalpataruvyaschа kripa sindhuvya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasati Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo
Om
Bhagavate
Namo Bhagavate
Vasudevaya.
Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om
Om
Namo
Namo
Bhagavate
Bhagavate
Vasudevaya.
Vasudevaya.
Okay, we welcome all of you to our weekly Krishna Book classes. Thank you very much for joining. We have with us here Auntie Nita, Divina, Dipti Adnani, Durga Prasad, Hari, Kamalanandini Mataji, Karuna, Minakshi, N.C. Venkachari. We have Priyanka Jha. My husband is there. Then we have Ritu Lalwani, Shailesh Latkar, Shantaram Latkar, Sheetal Latkar, Shivani, Shreya Kalaria. Then we have Shri Radhe Hari Devidasi Mataji. And we have Vivansh. Okay. And Makarina has just joined us. Very nice. So in the previous class, we ended the section describing the Rasa Leela. We saw the last chapter of this whole Rasa Leela episode. And by the mercy of Guru and Krishna, we were able to finish it without any obstacles, and we were able to nicely finish it. So today, we will see the next chapter, chapter number 34 of the Krishna book, titled Vidyādhara Liberated and the demon Śaṅkhacūḍa killed. Let's see. Once upon a time, the cowherd men of Vrindavan, headed by Nanda Maharaj, desired to go to Ambikavan to observe the Shivaratri ceremony. The Rasa Leela was performed during the autumn, and after that, the next big ceremony is Holi, or the Dola Yatra ceremony. Between the Dola Yatra ceremony and the Rasa Leela ceremony, there is an important ceremony called Shivaratri, which is specially observed by the Shaivites, or devotees of Lord Shiva. Sometimes the Vaishnavas also observe this ceremony because they accept Lord Shiva as the foremost Vaishnava. But the function of Shivaratri is not observed very regularly by the bhaktas or devotees of Krishna. Under the circumstances, Srimad Bhagavatam states that Nanda Maharaj and the other cowherd men once upon a time desired. This means that they were not regularly observing the Shivaratri function, but that once upon a time they wanted to go to Ambikavan out of curiosity. Ambikavan is somewhere in Gujarat province, and it is said to be situated on the river Saraswati. Yet we do not find any Saraswati river in Gujarat province, although there is a river named Savarmati. In India, all the big places of pilgrimage are situated on nice rivers like the Ganges, Yamuna, Saraswati, Narmada, Godavari, and Kaveri. Ambikavan was situated on the banks of Saraswati, and Nanda Maharaj and all other cowherd men went there. So, we see how Nanda Maharaj and the other cowherd men, they desire to observe once upon a time the Shivaratri ceremony. And after autumn comes the Shivaratri ceremony, and after that comes the Holi or the Dola Yatra ceremony. Dola Yatra is the ceremony where they place Sri Sri Radha Krishna on a swing, and they celebrate that particular pastime. So that is called as a Dola Yatra ceremony. It lasts for several days, and it ends on the Purnima, on the same Purnima on which Holi falls. So therefore, the statement, next big ceremony is Holi or the Dola Yatra ceremony. So anyway, before the Dola Yatra ceremony is the Shivaratri ceremony, which they desire to observe. And see the statement here that the Vaishnavas accept Lord Shiva as the foremost Vaishnava. This statement is there in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Vaishnavanam Yatha Shambhu. So Vaishnavanam Yatha means the topmost Vaishnava is Shambhu. Shambhu is none other than Lord Shiva. So Lord Shiva is a great elevated personality, and in fact he is described as a foremost Vaishnava in the Srimad Bhagavatam. So because he is a foremost Vaishnava, all Vaishnavas are glorious, and Lord Shiva is especially glorious because he is the foremost Vaishnava. So they have all desired to go to Ambikavan, which is in Gujarat, on the banks of the river Saraswati. Let's see what happens next. They very devotedly began to worship the deity of Lord Shiva and Ambika. It is a general practice that wherever there is a temple of Lord Shiva, there must be another temple of Ambika or Durga, because Ambika is the wife of Lord Shiva and is the most exalted of all chaste women. She doesn't live outside the association of her husband. After reaching Ambikavan, the cowherd men of Vrindavan first bathe themselves in the river Saraswati. If one goes out to any pilgrimage, to any place of pilgrimage, his first duty is to take a bath and sometimes to shave his head. That is the first business. After taking a bath, they worship the deities and then distributed charity in the holy places. So, what's the protocol? One must have a bath before visiting a place of pilgrimage. So, this we see in many temples. People have a bath, or at least they wash their hands and feet before they enter the temple. That's why these temples have Traditionally, all the temples have ponds by them, no? So people take a dip in the pond and then they enter the temple. And now in the modern times, they have some taps where at least you can wash your hands and feet before you enter the temple. So sometimes they even shave their head, and after taking a bath and worshipping the deities, they distribute charity in the holy places. According to Vedic system, charity is given to the Brahmanas. It is stated in the Vedic Shastras that only the Brahmanas and the sannyasis can accept charity. The cowherd men in Vrindavan gave the Brahmanas cows decorated with golden ornaments and beautiful garlands. The Brahmanas are given charity because they are not engaged in any business profession. They are supposed to be engaged in Brahmanical occupations as described in the Bhagavad Gita. Namely, they must be very learned and must perform austerity and penances. Not only must they themselves be learned, but they must also teach others. Brahmanas are not meant to be Brahmanas alone. They should create other Brahmanas also. If a man is found who agrees to become a Brahmana's disciple, he is also given the chance to become a Brahmana. The Brahmana is always engaged in the worship of Lord Vishnu. Therefore, the Brahmanas are eligible to accept all kinds of charity. But if the Brahmanas receive excess charity, they are to distribute it for the service of Vishnu. In the Vedic scriptures, therefore, one is recommended to give charity to the Brahmanas, and by so doing, one pleases Lord Vishnu and all the demigods. So, very, very important point here. Many important points are there. First of all, charity should be given only to the
Brahmanas.
and
Brahmanas.
and Brahmanas and
Sannyasis.
Brahmanas and
And
sannyasis.
sannyasis.
So, how do we identify who's a Brahman and who's a sannyasi? How do we know that they are Brahmanas? What is the qualification of a Brahmana?
A Brahmana does service to Lord Vishnu, but they also teach others.
Very nice. What else? How do you know if one is a Brahman or not a Brahman?
Guna karma.
Guna and karma. Very nice. No? So Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita that one can identify a Brahman or one is a Brahman depending on the guna and the karma. Guna means qualities and karma means the activities. So if one has the qualities of a Brahman and if one engages in activities of the Brahman, then one is a Brahmana. Just because one is born in a Brahmin family does not make one a Brahmin. This is a big misconception that we have in Kali Yuga, that just by Janma one is considered to be a Brahmin. No, it is the guna and the karma that determines whether one is a Brahmin or not a Brahmin. So in the Varnashram society, see here, let me here see, we have this verse in the Bhagavad Gita where Krishna is saying, Chaturvarnyam maya shrishtam guna karma vibhagasa, which means he has divided the society, vibhagasa, he has divided the society according to the guna and the karma of the people, according to the qualities and the karma, the activities of the person. So who is not on mute here? There is some disturbance. Okay. So depending on guna and karma, this society has been divided, and that is what is called as a varnashram system. So varnas means there are four varnas. Varnas are Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra. The division of the society according to one's activities. Okay. And ashrama means the division of the society according to the stage of life one is in. So what are the four ashramas? Brahmacharya ashram, Grihastha ashram, Vanaprastha ashram, and Sannyas ashram. Brahmachari is the student life. Then we have the Grihastha life, which is the married life. And then we have Vanaprastha, which is retired life. And then we have Sannyas, which is the renounced life. Okay. So these four Varnas and these four Ashramas together, they are called as a Varnashram system. And this is the original caste system that was introduced by Kṛṣṇa himself. Kṛṣṇa himself. Now, this is a very, very scientific and very, very important Varnashram system. If one follows this Varnashram system perfectly, then there will be peace and order in the society. There will be no clashes. Why? Because each one is doing their work according to their nature. So, Brahmanas have a certain nature, Kshatriyas have a certain nature. And in fact, Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita, he tells us what are the qualities of a Brahman. See here, of a Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra. Bhagavad Gita chapter 18, text 41 to 44. So Krishna says, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra are distinguished by the qualities born of their own natures in accordance with the material modes, O chastiser of the enemy. So of course here he's talking to Arjuna. Then he says, peacefulness, self-control, austerity, purity, tolerance, honesty, knowledge, wisdom, and religiousness. These are the natural qualities by which the Brahmanas work. Heroism, power, determination, resourcefulness, courage in battle, generosity, and leadership are the natural qualities of work for the Kshatriyas. Farming, cow protection, and business are the natural work for the Vaishyas, and for the Shudras, there are labor and service to others. So, if you want to divide the society, this Varnashram system, if that's compared to a human body, the Brahmanas are considered to be the heads of the society. So, because they are the most intelligent class, and they're also the teachers of the society. So, the knowledge that one gets, whatever one learns, is from the Brahmanas. They are the teachers of the society. So they are compared to the heads. Then Kshatriyas, they are compared to the arms of the body, because Kshatriyas are heroic, they are very courageous, they have to fight wars, they know that death can strike at any time, war can strike at any time they have to go to the battlefield. So they are compared to the arms of the society. Vaishyas are compared to the stomach of the society. Why? Because it's the stomach that receives food, and then the nourishment goes to all parts of the body. So the Vaishyas are the business class. They keep the economy rolling. The money is rolling, the economy is rolling, the goods are moving in the society because of the Vaishyas. So they are compared to the stomach of the society. Shudras are the labor class. They are compared to the legs of the society. So because the Shudras are rendering service, therefore the Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, and Vaishyas, they can get their work done in the Varnashram system. So if each one does their duties and according to the nature that they have attained, then there will be a completely peaceful society. There would be no clashes. See, in a perfect Varnashram system, the Shudras, Vaishyas, Kshatriyas, Brahmanas, they are all important. They are all important. Nobody would say that, okay, you cut off my legs, it doesn't matter to me. Yes, we know, right? We need our legs as much as we need our stomach, as much as we need our hands, as much as we need our heads. So it's not that Shudras are can be disrespected in a pure Varnashram system. The thing here is, the Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, and Vaishyas, because of their nature, they are naturally inclined to gain spiritual knowledge. So therefore, the Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, they go to the Gurukula and they attain spiritual knowledge. Shudras, by nature, they are not inclined to gain any knowledge. Therefore, they don't go to the Gurukul. So here actually, this is also an order of how advanced one spiritually is, right? Shudras are least inclined to learn spiritual knowledge, and Brahmanas are, of course, the most inclined. So this goes in that order. And for that, in one sense, you can say that if the legs or hands are cut off, we can still continue to live. But if the head is cut off, then we cannot continue to live, because the Brahmanas are the teachers of the society. So see here now again, coming back to the point that it's the nature of a person and the activities that a person does that determines whether one is Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. It is not Janma. It is Guna and Karma. It is not Janma. If one considers only the Janma and thinks that, oh, this is a Brahman because he is born in a Brahman family, or if one thinks that I am a Brahman because I am born in a Brahman family, that is actually called as Asuri Varnashram system. That is demoniac Varnashram system, because you just cannot go by the birth. You have to see the qualities and the nature of work one does. So, for example, if a Brahman does not have these qualities of peacefulness, self-control, austerity, he should do tapasya, his senses should be fully controlled, he should be peaceful, purity, he cannot engage in sinful activities. If a Brahman is engaging, of a so-called Brahman, of somebody who is born in a Brahman family but is engaging in sinful activities like meat eating, intoxication, illicit sex, and gambling, then he does not have the quality of a Brahman and you cannot consider him to be a Brahman. Then tolerance, honesty, knowledge, wisdom, and religiousness. So these are the natural qualities of the Brahman. So these are the qualities of a Brahman. And of course, the 6 duties of the Brahman. What are the 6 duties of a Brahman? He, as we read in the previous slide here, no? Why am I not able to go back? Okay, my PowerPoint is stuck. So anyway, as we read, the 6 qualities of a Brahman are, he himself is knowledgeable, and plus he distributes the knowledge to others, right? So a Brahman should make other Brahmins. So he has to distribute this knowledge. He has to train others also to become Brahmanas. So one can be born in a Shudra family, but he can be trained up to become a Brahmana. Okay. So a Brahmana should make other Brahmanas. Then what are the other 2 duties? Okay, so again coming back. He is knowledgeable, he gives knowledge to the others. He performs yagya and he teaches others also how to perform yagyas. So, Patan, Yagya, Yagya, and Dana Pratigraha. Dana Pratigraha means he receives charity, and when he has excess, he has to give it away to the others. Not that he is piling up his own treasury because of the charity that a Brahman is receiving. Now, why should a Brahman receive charity? Because when one person gives charity to a Brahman, then that person who's giving charity, he is spiritually benefited. So because a Brahman wants to spiritually benefit the other person, therefore he accepts the charity. But when he has excess beyond what is required for him to keep body and soul together, then he has to give away that excess, okay, because otherwise he will become greedy. So these are the 6 duties of a Brahmana, and these are the qualities of a Brahmana. Same like that, Kshatriyas have their qualities, and Vaishyas and Shudras also have their particular qualities. Now, if somebody is a Brahman and he does the work of a Kshatriya, it will not work. It will not work. It will only create confusion and it will corrupt the Varnashram system. Actually, in Kali Yuga, the Varnashram system has been completely corrupted. In Kali Yuga, do we have Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra according to our scriptures? What do you think?
No, we don't.
No.
Whom do we have in Kali Yuga?
All Shudras.
All are Shudras, yes. All are Shudras or even less than Shudras. Okay, the Skanda Purana says, Kalau Shudra Sambhava. Everyone in Kali Yuga is either Shudra or less than Shudras. See, previously the Brahmanas, they were so powerful just by chanting mantras, they could bring a dead person back to life. Just by chanting mantras, they could light the fire of the yagyas. They didn't require any matchbox or anything else. No? So they would perfectly pronounce the verses. They had perfect memories. We don't have such Brahmins anymore in the age of Kali, right? So anyway, in Kali Yuga, everyone is either Shudra or less than Shudra, because less than 1% of the world population is actually interested in any kind of spiritual knowledge. And Shudras means they are not interested in receiving any kind of Vedic knowledge, right? That's why in Kali Yuga, the Varnashram system has completely been corrupted. So coming back to this point that if somebody is a Brahman and he does the work of a Kshatriya or vice versa, it will corrupt the system and it will not work. So one example is from the Mahabharata when Dronacharya, actually he's a Brahmin, but he was fighting the war of Kurukshetra because of circumstances, right? Because he was employed by Hastinapur and therefore he had to fight the war in that extraordinary circumstance. But what happened in the war was that when his son was killed, he was so overpowered by emotions that he lay down his arms and he was not able to fight anymore because he does not have the courage and the heroism of fighting like a Kshatriya in the war. On the other hand, Arjuna also, he also heard that his son was dead, right? He heard how mercilessly his son was slaughtered actually on that battlefield. But he came back with more courage, more valor, and he was all the more furious when he was fighting the war the next day because by nature he's a Kshatriya. So therefore Krishna says it's better to do your own duty even though you do it imperfectly than to do the duty of another person perfectly. And coming to giving charity, and so therefore Brahmanas, you can give charity to a Brahmana because by giving charity to a Brahmana, one gets spiritually benefited, and the Brahmana will always use the donation in the service of the Lord, in the service of the Lord. He is not going to stock his cupboards and treasury with the charity that he receives if he's a Brahman. If he does so, then he is not a Brahman. So Brahmanas, they receive charity. Kshatriyas, they impose taxes. The Vaishyas, they earn, right, through business. They are earning their income. And the Shudras, they receive a salary. They receive a salary. Okay. See here this verse from the Padma Purana. Even if a Brahman is very learned in Vedic scripture and knows the 6 occupational duties of a Brahman, so Sat Karma Nipuna Vipro, Vipro means Brahmana. Even if that Brahman is Sat Karma Nipuna, if he is very learned in the Vedic scriptures and knows the Sat Karma, the 6 occupational duties of a Brahman, which we just discussed, he cannot become a guru or spiritual master unless he is a devotee of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. However, if one is born in a family of dog eaters but is a pure devotee of the Lord, he can become a spiritual master. So, see, if one is a Brahman but he is not a devotee, right, then he cannot become a guru. On the other side, one may be born in the family of dog eaters, but if he has the guna and the karma of a Brahman and he's a pure devotee of the Lord, if there is bhakti, right, if he's a devotee, then he is such an elevated personality that he can become guru. He can become a bona fide spiritual master. So some people have this misconception, no, that in ISKCON, the gurus are not from India. A guru does not have to be born in India. Does not matter where the person is born. What matters is how much is his spiritual advancement, how much bhakti is there in his heart. If that person has bhakti in the heart, doesn't matter if he's Indian, American, rich or poor, man or woman, or if he's an adult or a child, it does not matter. Only thing matters is how much devotion is there in his heart. See, the Srimad Bhagavatam was spoken by Sukadeva Goswami when he was only 16 years old, 16 years old. But he was accepted as a highly elevated personality. Therefore, he was speaking. He was given an elevated place to sit. No, he was sitting at an elevated place. And everybody else, great sages like even Narada Muni and his own father Vyasadev, they were sitting down and they were hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam as he was reciting it to Maharaj Parikshit. So they are not saying that Sukadeva Goswami is only a 16-year-old boy. They are saying the spiritual advancement of Sukadeva Goswami. Therefore, they are taking that subordinate position and they allowed Sukadeva Goswami to sit in that elevated position and they were hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam from his lotus lips. And another example is from the Mahabharata. We see Vidura. Now, Vidura was actually born from the womb of a maid servant, right? But he was considered to be very, very elevated. In fact, Kṛṣṇa, he rejected the royal feast, the invitation that Duryodhan gave to him, and he accepted the simple meal in Vidura's house. Why? Because Kṛṣṇa is not saying that, oh, this is a king and he's a Kshatriya and Vidura is a Shudra. He's seeing the spiritual advancement of the devotee. He's seeing how much bhakti is there in the heart of the devotees. So therefore he goes to Vidura and he does not go to the house of Duryodhana. Yeah, Shreya, you have your hand raised.
Yes, Mataji. So in like anywhere, not just in ISKCON, but like anywhere, why we see less of a women's spiritual master, or spiritual master who is a woman, like when there are so many advanced women out there.
See, again, coming back to guna and karma, women by nature, they are happy to serve the family. They are for a woman, the duty of also a woman is to take care of a family, take care of her children, bring up sane minds. If a woman is taking care of her family, taking care of her children, and she's bringing up the children, which is the most important duty for a society also, because the future of the entire society, the future of the nation, and the future of the world depends on how the woman is bringing up her children. So for a woman, by default, by her nature also, the first thing that comes to her mind is, I have to bring up my children properly. Focus on their education, focus on bringing them up. So because by nature they like to be more focused in taking care of their homes and families. Once that duty is taken care of, then there is time for other things. Of course, in ISKCON now, women gurus are sanctioned, right? It's sanctioned now, and if one wants to become a guru in ISKCON, it is possible.
Like an initiating guru?
Yes, ISKCON has already passed that law recently.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just that the nature of a woman is such that, see, a woman is more inclined towards taking, as I said, it comes naturally to her. It's not something that she has to artificially engage in, because she is more compassionate. She is more emotional. The heart rules over the head for a woman. A woman is more sentimental by nature. For a man, it's different. But of course, once Krishna consciousness, or we know that we are not the body, we are the spirit soul. So once those duties are done with, then see, even Srila Prabhupada, no, there was one disciple who wrote to him that I'm not able to, I have three, I think she said 3 children. She said, I have 3 children and I'm not able to take care of my children and do the deity worship as well, because she was engaged in deity worship seva in some temple. So Srila Prabhupada wrote to her that you first take care of your 3 most important deities, which is her children. That is more important than worshipping the deities. So first is your duties. You do your duties. After that, if there is time, then you can become guru. That's not a problem. It's not that it's not allowed. It's just that by nature, there are other things going on for a woman at the psychological level.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Shailesh?
We just took the example of Vidur, but wasn't he born to Vedyas? So why? I never understood the part where he was considered a lowly person
Who?
because he was born from Vedyas, Vidur.
No, but the mother, okay, so that, see, Dhritarashtra, Pandu and Vyasadev, they were born under extraordinary circumstances because there was no heir to the throne of Hastinapur. So when Shastra allows that when there is no heir to the throne, then the woman is allowed to have a relation with the husband's brother so that the throne can have a heir. Okay, so he was born, but the children that are born from the womb of these mothers, they are considered to be the sons of the husband of the woman, not the sons of the brother. This is the Shastric
Okay.
injunction. Okay, so yes, biologically he is the son of Vyasadev. Biologically, yes, but he is not considered to be the son of Vyasadev at that technical level, and he was born from the womb of a maidservant, Vidura. His mother was a maidservant.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Can we proceed? See another verse from the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Whether one is a Brahman, a sannyasi, or a Shudra, regardless of what he is, he can become a spiritual master if he knows the science of Krishna. Perfect. This verse is very important to the Krishna consciousness movement. In this Amrita Pravaha Bhashya, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur explains that one should not think that because Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was born a Brahmana and was situated in the topmost spiritual order as a sannyasi, it was improper for him to receive instructions from Srila Ramananda Rai, who belonged to the Shudra caste. To clarify this matter, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu informed Ramananda Rai that knowledge of Krishna consciousness is more important than caste. So, do you remember Ramananda Rai?
Yes.
From where? When did we discuss?
He was
From
few days back.
Chaitanya
Chaitanya.
Charitamrita.
Just in the class by Prabhu Nirantara, no, he read this section. In fact, this is from the same chapter that Prabhu Nirantara read in our class. So this was the conversation that was happening between Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Ramananda Rai. That section that he read, those intimate pastimes. So Ramananda Rai, we can see here, he belonged to the Shudra caste. But still Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he saw his spiritual advancement and therefore he is discussing such intimate pastimes with him. So again, coming back to the point, it does not matter which family one is born in. That doesn't make one a Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya or Shudra. It is the guna and the karma, the qualities. Nowadays, unfortunately, in Kali Yuga, many Brahmanas are engaging in meat eating, intoxication, illicit sex and gambling. And then they are happy that, oh, we are Brahmanas. No, they are not Brahmanas. Okay. So if one is born in a Shudra family, one can elevate oneself to the level of a Brahmana by his spiritual advancement. In the same way, if one is born in a Brahman family and if he is engaging in sinful activities, then it is only leading to his degradation. Coming back to Krishna book. The pilgrims take a bath, worship the deity and give charity. They are also recommended to fast one day. They should go to a place of pilgrimage and stay there for at least 3 days. The first day is spent fasting, and at night they can drink a little water because water does not break the fast. So when one goes to a place of pilgrimage, it is recommended to stay there for at least 3 days. The first day is spent fasting. Okay, the cowherd men headed by Nanda Maharaj spent that night on the bank of the Saraswati. They fasted all day and drank a little water at night. But while they were taking rest, a great serpent from the nearby forest appeared before them and hungrily began to swallow up Nanda Maharaj. Nanda cried out helplessly, "My dear son, Kṛṣṇa, please come and save me from this danger. This serpent is swallowing me." When Nanda Maharaj cried for help, all the cowherd men got up and saw what was happening. They immediately took up the burning logs and began to beat the snake to kill it. But in spite of being beaten with burning logs, the serpent was not about to give up swallowing Nanda Maharaj. So here you can see in the picture how they are trying to beat the serpent with these burning logs. And here Nanda Maharaj is being swallowed by this huge serpent. At that time, Krishna appeared on the scene and touched the serpent with his lotus feet. Immediately upon being touched by the lotus feet of Krishna, the serpent shed its reptilian body and appeared as a very beautiful demigod named Vidyādhara. His bodily features were so beautiful that he appeared to be worshipable. There was a lustre and effulgence emanating from his body, and he was garlanded with a gold necklace. He offered obeisances to Lord Krishna and stood before him with great humility. Krishna then asked the demigod, "You appear to be a very nice demigod and to be favored by the goddess of fortune. How is it that you perform such abominable activities that you got the body of a serpent?" The demigod then began to narrate the story of his previous life. So it's not that Krishna doesn't know why this serpent got the body of a serpent, but he's asking for our benefit so that he can narrate the story. And he's saying also, what abominable activities did you do that you got the body of a serpent, right? So anybody who gets the body of a serpent is because in the previous life he has done some abominable activity. So let's see what he says. "My dear Lord," he said, "in my previous life I was named Vidyādhara and was known all over the world for my beauty. Because I was a celebrated personality, I used to travel all over in my airplane. While traveling, I saw a great sage named Angira. He was very ugly, and because I was very proud of my beauty, I laughed at him. Due to this sinful act, I was condemned by the great sage to assume the form of a serpent. So, who was he? In the previous lifetime, that serpent was a great celebrated personality from the higher planetary systems, from the heavenly planets called Vidyādhara. And he was very, very beautiful. But the fault was that he was proud of his beauty. He was very powerful. He could travel anywhere on his airplane. But because he was proud of his beauty, he laughed at Angira. And because of that offense, he had to assume the form of a serpent, he is saying. Yeah, Shailesh, you have your hand raised.
It mentions in this passage that serpents are very lowly beings, but then Sheshnag and Vasuki are given very elevated positions. So,
No, they are not on the material platform. They are exceptions to the rules. See, there are Shastric rules, but there are always exceptions to the rules. So even the Lord came, for example, when he came as Varahadev, he took the body of a hog, right? But there is a lot of difference between Varahadev, that body of Varahadev in the form of a hog, and actually the hog that is eating stool on the streets. Because the hog on the street, he emanates a foul smell. But when Varahadev came, his body was emanating a very beautiful aromatic smell. So they are not at the material platform. They are not like the other serpents. They are an exception. They are elevated personalities. Okay.
but then why take a serpent form in the first place?
Because
They
they
could have been
want to.
in any.
Because they want to.
Okay.
They can take any form that they like. They can take any form. Because Anantashesh now, one of his services, he is providing a bed to Lord Vishnu. So when he coils up, then he's doing the service of providing the bed to Lord Vishnu. And then he's also at the rock bottom of the universe, and all the universes he's carrying on his hoods. So he has 1,000 hoods, and he's carrying the universe on his hoods. So they have different services for which they take different forms, and they can take any form they like or any form that Krishna wants them to take according to what they desire and what they deserve.
But is there any symbolism involved here? Because they chose to take this form for whatever reason.
Well, I have not read anything why particularly Anantashesh took the form of a snake, but I would think that in the form of a snake, he can coil up and he can provide a bed to Lord Vishnu, and a bed that shakes and breathes. For example, now in the modern times, we have water beds, no, that shake and provides a nice comfort. So he is also providing a nice, comfortable resting place to Lord Vishnu, and also in his service, because he is a snake with so many hoods, then he can carry the universes on his hoods. That is what I would think, but I cannot give any Shastric evidence. Okay. One should note that before being favored by Krishna, a person is always under the modes of material nature, however elevated he may be materially. Vidyādhara was a materially elevated demigod, and he was very beautiful. He also held a great position and was able to travel all over by airplane. Yet he was condemned to become a serpent in his next life. Any materially elevated person can be condemned to an abominable species of life if he is not careful. It is a misconception that after reaching the human body, one is never degraded. Vidyādhara himself stated that even though he was a demigod, he was condemned to become a serpent. But because he was touched by the lotus feet of Krishna, he immediately came to Krishna consciousness. He admitted, however, that in his previous life he was actually sinful. A Krishna conscious person knows that he is always the servant of Krishna. He is most insignificant, and whatever good he does is by the grace of Krishna and the spiritual master. So, this is another very, very important point to remember, how we have to be humble. It doesn't matter how elevated one may be materially. One can have lot of wealth, lot of intelligence, one may be very beautiful, One may be very intelligent. One may even be very renounced. No, one can also be proud of one's renunciation. Just as how Krishna Sudama story, we learn from our acharyas that actually Sudama was proud of his renunciation. He was proud of being poor. He was proud of his poverty. That's why Krishna gave him so much wealth that he will not be renounced, and he will, I mean, renounced mentally, but he will not be proud of his poverty. No, because he was proud of his poverty only, he would not go and beg also from other houses. Brahmanas are allowed to go and beg from other homes, but he would not even go and beg from other homes. So actually Sudama was proud of his renunciation. He was proud of his poverty. So one may be proud of one's renunciation or wealth or beauty or intelligence and so many other things, or power, contacts, but there is no value to all those material opulences if one is not a devotee of the Lord. Why? Because when death strikes, all that beauty, wealth, all those, everything, all that we have accumulated materially is going to come to a zero. We are going to have to start from all over again in the next lifetime. But if we have done some devotional service, if we have some bhakti in the heart, we've engaged in some seva, then that we can take with us in the next lifetime. If we don't engage in devotional service, if we are not following the regulative principles, and if we are not chanting the holy name, then again we are going to be cats and dogs again in the next lifetime. So what is the use of being the most intelligent person or the most beautiful person? There is no use of all those material opulences, because again in the next lifetime we are going to become cats and dogs. See here, it is a misconception that after reaching the human body, one is never degraded. So some people think that, oh, now we have the human body. Now after this, we can only get better. Life can only get better in the future lifetimes. No, if we do not use the human body the way we are supposed to use the human body, then this precious human body will be taken away from us in the next lifetime. And we are going to have to again fall back to animal species, again pass through 8,400,000 different kinds of bodies until again we get the human body. So what is the use of all those material opulences? So therefore we should be very, very careful that now we are fortunate we have this human body. So we have to use the human body for tapasya, for realizing God. This human body is not meant for meat eating, intoxication, illicit relationships and gambling. It is not meant for that. It is meant for tapasya. See, when we follow these four principles, actually following these four principles brings us to the level of being a human being first of all. If we are not following these four, then Shastra says we are not even humans. So to just come to the level of being a human being, we have to follow these four regulative principles. And then of course, when we chant the holy name, then we advance in our spiritual life. Even if we are only stuck to following the four principles and we are not chanting the holy name, if we are not engaging in devotional service also, then what is the point? Because even the animals, there are many animals who are vegetarians, no, they don't intoxicate, they are not gambling, they are not engaging in illicit relationships. So there are many animals also like that. So yes, we follow the four regular principles to come to the human level first of all, and because in the human level we have to realize God as human beings, therefore we have to chant the holy name. The demigod Vidyādhara continued to speak to Sri Krishna. Because I was very proud of the exquisite beauty of my body, he said, I derided the ugly features of the great sage Angira. He cursed me for my sin and I became a snake. Now I consider that this curse by the sage was not at all a curse. It was a great benediction for me. Had he not cursed me, I would not have assumed the body of a serpent and would not have been kicked by your lotus feet and thus freed from all material contamination. So now that Vidyādhara in that serpent body was kicked by Lord Krishna, therefore now he has been purified of all his sinful activities in the past. See, Krishna, he can take away all your sins in a flash, just like that, in one moment. No, just one moment of surrender is enough for us to get the slate wiped completely clean. So this is what has happened with Vidyādhara, and now he's realizing that what that sage did, Angira, that curse was actually a benediction. It was a blessing in disguise. So sometimes when great personalities curse, it is not a curse, it is a blessing. It is a lesson for us. Just as how Narada Muni had cursed the sons of Manigriva and Nalakuvera, the sons of Kuvera in the Damodar Leela, but they ultimately got benefited. In material existence, 4 things are very valuable: to be born in a decent family, to be very rich, to be very learned, and to be very beautiful. These are considered to be material assets. Unfortunately, without Krishna consciousness, these material assets sometimes become sources of sin and degradation. So 4 things are very valuable in material existence, but these 4 things can become a source of sin and degradation. For example, if one is very rich, one is very learned, one is very beautiful. In the case of Vidyādhara, this is what happened, right? He was very beautiful, but that became the source of sin and degradation for Vidyādhara. So these 4 things which are very valuable in material existence can become a source of sin and degradation if it is not used properly. There's nothing wrong in being very rich. There's nothing wrong in being learned, beautiful, or belonging to a decent family. It is very nice, but we have to use these things in the service of Krishna. If we don't, then we can become proud, which is what happened to Vidyādhara. Despite Vidyādhara being a demigod and having a beautiful body, he was condemned to the body of a snake due to pride. Therefore, from this incident, we can learn that those who are too proud of their material assets or who are inimical toward others are degraded to the bodies of snakes. A snake is considered to be the most cruel and envious living entity, but those who are human beings and are envious of others are considered to be even more vicious than snakes. The snake can be charmed or controlled by mantras and herbs, but a person who is envious cannot be controlled by anyone. So, envious a human being is more vicious than a snake. At least snake is going to bite you, no. But human beings, they may be very sweet to you on the face, but ultimately they may end up being vicious and to you and end up biting you. So they are more dangerous than the snakes. Yeah, Shreya, your hand is raised.
No, just wanted to share, like, so envy is such a very degraded quality, right?
Right. Very, very
Yeah.
degraded quality. And it was envy only that brought us down to the material world, no? Because we were envious of the position of Krishna. So very, very, yeah, as you said, very, very degraded quality. Envy. See, jealousy is one thing and envy is another thing. Jealousy means I want to have what you have. But envy means I want to have what you have and I don't want you to have it. I want that only I should have it. Why do you have it? My problem is, why do you have it? No, that's the problem when a person is envious. Jealousy means, oh, you have it, I also want to have it. That's okay if you have it, but I also want to have it. That is jealousy. But envy means you should not have it. My primary concern is you should not have that. That is envy. That is even more dangerous.
And we always think, like, I mean, at least I think like that I don't have envy, like we always think like that. So how do we even realize that we have envy?
How do you realize is when you see somebody better than you, even in your spiritual life, then what is it you're thinking? If you are thinking that, oh, I also want to chant nice rounds, how she is chanting nice rounds, so that is good. But if you are thinking, I want her to fall down, I want her to fall down to come to the level where she's not chanting any rounds and I should be chanting my rounds and I should advance, then, so what is your thought when you see somebody better than you, materially or spiritually? From that, you can tell. What are you thinking? Right? From there, you can say.
Yeah.
See, if somebody has a lot of beauty, the material asset of being very beautiful, from the spiritual angle of vision, it is considered 0. If one has a lot of wealth, it's another 0. If one has a lot of intelligence, another 0. One has a lot of knowledge, it's another 0. One is very renounced, another 0. Like that, you can go on increasing your material assets. Everything is a 0. But when you add Krishna in your life, then it is like adding 1 before all those zeros. So now there is value to that number. Now there is value to your beauty, to your wealth, to your strength, to your knowledge, to your intelligence. Now there is value to it. because you have added Krishna in your life. And now you can use those material assets in the service of Krishna. So now when you add Krishna in your life, then there is value. Otherwise, it's just like adding more and more zeros in your number. There is no value to it. Why? Because in the next life, again, we are going to become cats and dogs. So what is the use? What is the use? See, in this world, you can see people with a lot of beauty, lot of intelligence, lot of wealth, lot of fame, lot of strength, and lot of renunciation. But again, they are all zeros. When you add Krishna, now there is value to all those assets. So very, very important to bring Krishna in the center of our lives.
But Mataji, they all do charity also, right? Charity also count, no? Or
Yeah, but
some
again, charity, are they doing charity according to what the Vedas prescribe to Brahmanas and Sannyasis, or they are doing charity? What kind of charity? That also counts. If again, if they are giving charity and that charity is being used to feed them meat, then that charity also will lead to a degradation. That will
But
also
then
lead to a degradation.
who will help? I always think if we don't, if someone doesn't feed those people, who's going to help them? For example, in
But help them
Africa,
in what? You want to help them, you are concerned about helping them, but helping them in what? Fill the stomachs?
yes, the first you have to fill the stomach, then only you can think straight, right?
Okay, so
No,
you
I'm
fill the
not saying.
stomach. Okay, wait. You fill the stomach, it's fine. They are hungry, you need to fill the stomach, but you fill the stomach with prasad. You don't fill the stomach with meat.
No, I'm not just. There are some people who doesn't follow. I'm not thinking that I should do that, but there are some. Not everyone follow this, right? So for those people, this is a doubt I always have in my mind. So how can we help others who are not following this, right? There are a lot of people who cannot understand what we are discussing. We are lucky we can understand this, right? Some people, they have a lot of doubts, and they don't even there are some people in this world, they don't even know about this. They didn't even get the luck to know about this. So who can so we need people like this to help those people, right? I don't know.
We need devotees. We know we don't need materialistic people to help them. We need more devotees. We need more Vaishnavas. We need more Brahmanas. We need to educate them on the science of Krishna. And one person can make a lot of difference. One person, Srila Prabhupada, he has created so many hundreds and thousands of devotees all over the world, is it not? By
Yes,
the purity of one
they are
person.
lucky. I'm not talking about the lucky ones. I'm
So
talking
we
about
need
the.
to, no. Everybody is fortunate. See, the thing is, Krishna has given the opportunity to everyone to become his devotee. It's not selective. No, Krishna is not saying, I will only give knowledge to you. I will not give knowledge to them. Now, for example, these classes are completely free of cost. There is
Yeah.
no restriction, right? So many temples all over the world, ISKCON temples, every morning there is Bhagavatam class, every evening there is Gita class. There is prasad, there is kirtan, there is nice program, there is nice devotee association. So one has to desire to go there. One has to get some spiritual knowledge. You go there, right? If one is not going to get the knowledge, then how that person will become fortunate? So
I know.
Krishna has opened the doors. He has given the opportunity to everyone. And if we want to help, right? Now, when they help, now let's say let's say the world's richest person, he is doing charity, right? He's feeding orphans, he's feeding in old age homes, he's arranging for free treatment in the different hospitals. Okay. Now, what is happening? If that charity is going to give them, in that charity, he's giving them meat, or somebody who has undergone free treatment, now after he has become all right, he is going to engage in sinful activities even more. So it is good for that person or it is bad for that person. He has increased his karma or he has decreased his karma. What has he done?
But in this case, we has done with a good heart only, right? When a person I'm
It's
donating,
No. What's the
Oh,
definition of a good heart? It is done in ignorance. That's the right word. That kind of charity is charity in the mode of ignorance. It is done in ignorance. What is this good heart and bad heart? Who has a definition of who has a good heart? The point, your bottom line
intention.
is this is charity done in the mode of ignorance without proper
Oh,
knowledge. Shastras clearly state you give charity to brahmanas and to sannyasis because then you are benefiting them spiritually. When a charity is done in the, you can give charity, you can feed the poor people, but you feed them prasad, you feed them that which is going to increase their spiritual bank balance. If you feed them meat, you are only increasing their karma and you are also increasing your own karma. It is leading to their degradation, it is also leading to your degradation. Both parties are getting degraded. So how is this charity glorious? Tell me, is it glorious?
But Mataji, in my case, it's my choice, right? Because I have everything, so it's my choice whether to go to temple or to go to bar, right? Not bar. Okay, so for example, people who live in footpath, for them, they are only looking something to eat to fill their, right, for sustainability. For we need some people to help those kind of people also, right? They don't even.
So what is stopping you from helping the people who are living on the footpath from feeding them prasad? Who said that you have to only feed them meat? You don't have
How
to only
can
feed
we
them meat, right?
how can we reach everyone this prasad? It's not possible, right? So no, I don't want to argue.
You do as much as you can individually, but when there are many devotees all over the world, that's why when you make more devotees, right, you're spreading your network even more, and then more and more people will get benefited. That's why a Brahmin should make more Brahmins, a devotee should make more devotees. That's why Prabhupada never taught us to do Krishna consciousness in your homes. He said, go out and preach, go out on book distribution. Why do we have in Prabhupada temples, for example, there is always in ISKCON, there is a glorious arrangement of prasad, always. Why? Because prasad attracts the living entities, right? It's very natural. If you have some breadcrumbs, all the pigeons will immediately come, right? So food is something that naturally attracts all the living entities. Therefore, Prabhupada in his temples, Prabhupada's temples are very unique. They are not like other temples. When I first time came to an ISKCON temple, I was wondering, why are people dancing? I had never seen people dancing in a temple like I had seen in an ISKCON temple. And this glorious prasadam arrangement. Because everything is made to attract people. So therefore, and Krishna also is most attractive, no? Krishna is most attractive. When you see Krishna, the Murti also is very, very attractive. The deities are so beautifully decorated every single day in ISKCON temples. A lot of money is spent on decorating the deities. It's not cheap. Why the deities are decorated like this? So that people are attracted. So we have to increase the network. Now you said no, we are lucky, we are fortunate, everybody is not fortunate. Okay, you try and make others fortunate as much as you can and make more devotees. So those devotees will make more devotees. Those devotees will make more devotees. And like that, you spread it like a branch of a tree, like from one seed that is sown, then you have such a huge tree with so many branches like that. That's why you have to take it to as many people as you can. But if one is doing charity in ignorance, then you're only increasing other people's karma and you're increasing your own karma, and both parties are leading to degradation. So that is not glorious. You have to think from the, what you are thinking, Aja, is the short term benefit, right? They are hungry on the street, so they need to be fed, their stomachs need to be filled. But you're not thinking from the long term benefit, from the long term angle of vision. See, Arjuna also had this thing, na? He said Shreyas and Preyas. Arjuna said, please tell me, Krishna, what is Shreyas for me? What is good for my long-term benefit? So you should think about Shreyas, what is good for long-term benefit, not think about Preyas, short-term benefit. Because, okay, you feed them, they are hungry, you feed them, their stomach is full, but then next life they are going to be cats and dogs. What is the use? So think of the long-term benefit, not short-term.
But we can give them prasad.
Yes, of course, prasad, you can give any amount of prasad to anyone. It'll benefit both the parties. Of course. Okay.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Shavani.
So same thing goes like if you are having a pet or an animal, right? If you give them prasad, then next life they'll have a human birth or a devotee.
I don't know if they'll get a human birth, but they will get an upgrade. That much is assured. I don't know about human birth, may or may not happen, but definitely they get an upgrade. Yes.
And
Pets
that's
also, if
also
you feed them prasad.
also by listening to the Hare Krishna mantra.
Yes, yes. They get when the sound vibration enters their ears, they are getting benefited. That's right. Not only animals, even plants and trees. If you're chanting under a tree, the soul in the tree body also gets benefited by your chanting.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, Shreya?
I just wanted to say something by statement by Srila Prabhupada or some devotee that even when you offer it, like when you are offering the flower to the deity, that plant which that flower is coming from gets a human birth.
Wow.
It's like so
Fantastic.
amazed by that. I was like, wow. When we offer a flower, we think just we are getting benefited, you know.
Yes. So that's the beauty, no, when you have Krishna in your life. So many others are getting benefited.
Do plants need human body to get moksha?
Yes. Every living entity needs human body to get moksha. Unless it's a special case. For example, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he had fed some green coconut to a dog, and then the dog immediately went back to the spiritual world. So unless there are some rare cases like that, the general rule is one transmigrates. See here, one transmigrates through all these different bodies, right? Aquatics, like this, the trees, birds, animals, etc.,
Yeah.
etc., reptiles, and then one gets the human body. In the human body, the beginning is Athato Brahma Jigyasa, inquire into the spirit soul. Who am I? I am the spirit soul. I am not this body. That is the first lesson of spiritual life. So one transmigrates through 8,400,000 bodies and gets this human life. And one begins to inquire and inquire about the absolute truth. But if one does not use this human life and is engaging in sinful activities, is not using the human life the way it is supposed to be used, then this human body, this precious human body will be taken away from us. And again, we have to go down and again transmigrate through all these different species. Or it goes like this. So therefore, this human life is very, very important. So plants also, see, for example, if someone is a model or an actress and is very fond of exposing and with very little clothing or with no clothing at all is in full public view and is getting photographed, is on magazine covers, etc., then what is the future of such a person? Such a person next life gets the body of a plant or a tree, where that plant and the tree is in full public view without any clothes on. So that is the body, that's what that person desired, and that's what that person has got. No? So now again from the tree again, this soul has to transmigrate through all these different bodies before getting a human body again. So we should not take it very lightly that we have this human body. It is very, very precious commodity, and we have to use it to realize God, because otherwise, again, transmigrating through all these millions of species and then getting a human body, then who knows again when we will get the association of devotees, when we will come in touch with Prabhupada's books, whether we will come in touch with Bhagavad Gita, whether we will come in touch with Krishna Leelas. We don't know if that is going to happen again. So take your spiritual life very, very seriously. If we have any bad habits, try to give up. Try to give up meat eating, intoxication, illicit sex, gambling. Try to give it up. Reduce it first. First, you have the desire that I want to give it up. Reduce it, reduce it, reduce it. Come to zero. And simultaneously, you chant your rounds. And every day pray to Krishna. Oh, my dear Lord Krishna, please help me overcome my bad habits. Please help me overcome my anarthas. Oh, Krishna is very, very merciful. He will definitely grant your sincere desires. So please take your spiritual life very, very seriously. Every birthday is a reminder that I have 1 year less to perfect my life. I have 1 year less to perfect my life. Shailesh?
Yeah, it mentions earlier on in the chapter that when you go to a place of pilgrimage, first thing you need to do is you need to take a bath. Second thing they said is that sometimes you also need to shave your head. So, I mean, usually that is what we do when a child goes to Balaji Tirupati the first time. So, is that what it means, that the first time you go there you need to cut it, or what is it inferring to?
No, it's not that first. I mean, it doesn't say that the first time you go to pilgrimage. It says when you go to a place of pilgrimage, then you fast for 1 day, you shave your head, right? It's not that only the first time you go to a holy place you have to do that. Second time it's not necessary. That's the general protocol. But of course, again, in Kali Yuga, we have to remember that a lot of rules and regulations have been relaxed because not everybody can follow it. So it is not that it must be done. Prabhupada says sometimes it is done. And coming to Balaji, well, that deity, Lord Balaji, he wants to again encompass everyone. So if somebody does not have any material possessions to make a donation to the Lord, then one can give his hair to the Lord, and the Lord also accepts it because everybody has hair, no? Everybody can donate hair to the Lord, and he accepts that also as a donation to encompass everyone so that everybody can do their service to the Lord.
So it is a form of sacrifice, in a way.
Yes, it's a form of sacrifice because usually we all love our hair very much, no? We are all, or generally human beings are very obsessed with their hair. One hair, the moment a grossly materialistic person, if they see gray hair, then they want to color the hair, no? And if when the men start to bald, then that's why you have hair transplants and so many other hair treatments and hair spas and so many other things. So hair is something that is very dear to the people who are very, very materialistic. They're very attached to their hair. So when you sacrifice your hair, then it's a symbol of I'm sacrificing something that is very dear to me. So I'm giving that to the Lord. It's a sign of being renounced or love for the Lord, like that.
And is it there any significance at all of doing it when you are before 5 years of age? Because
thing
I've seen
is,
that a lot.
No, the thing is, there is a samskara called, I don't remember what it is called, but when the heads are shaved, no, for the newborn children, because the hair that was in the child when he's in the womb of the mother, he had the hair, but in that womb is the amniotic fluid. The child was in its own stool and urine, and so many other obnoxious substances in the womb, right? So when the child is born with that hair is considered to be unclean. It's uh, uh, it's like it's not shuddh, no, it's unclean. So therefore the first hair, birth hair, is removed, and then the second hair is grown, and then we maintain that hair. But first hair is removed because it was in the child had that hair in the womb, and therefore it is considered to be unclean. Now people prefer to go, okay, we are going to we have to shave the hair, so they many people prefer to go to Lord Balaji and give that hair to Lord Balaji as a donation, like that.
It has become almost a custom, actually.
Yeah, but not everybody does it. I know several people who don't do that. It's more, yeah, of course, those who live in South India or those who are Brahmanical, then they like to do that. But there are a whole lot of them who don't also.
Okay.
So see here, if we have material assets, it's like you are in this prison house, and this prisoner here, he's trying to make his stay within the prison house comfortable by breaking the wall and installing an AC. Now, is this a very intelligent thing to do? Because ultimately, still he is inside the prison house, right? We are still in this material world. So, all our material assets, we are trying to make ourselves comfortable by earning more money. We want a better house, we want a more comfortable bed, we want a better car. So many other things is like making our stay here within the prison house more comfortable. But actually, intelligence is for this person to come out of this prison house. So, intelligence for us is how we are going to come out of this prison house of material existence. And that can be done by bhakti. There is no other way. There is no other way. There is no other way. Coming back to Krishna book. My dear Lord, Vidyādhara continued, Now, since I think I have become freed from all kinds of sinful activities, I am asking your permission to return to my abode, the heavenly planets. This request indicates that persons who are attached to fruitive activities, desiring promotion to the comforts of higher planetary systems, cannot achieve their ultimate goal of life without the sanction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It is also stated in the Bhagavad Gita that the less intelligent want to achieve material benefits and therefore worship different kinds of demigods, but that they actually get the benedictions from the demigods through the permission of Lord Vishnu or Krishna. Demigods have no power to bestow material profit. Even if one is attached to material benedictions, he should worship Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and ask him. Krishna is completely able to give even material benedictions. There is a difference, however, between asking material benedictions from the demigods and asking them from Krishna. Dhruva Maharaj worshipped the Supreme Personality of Godhead for a material benediction. But when he actually achieved the favor of the Supreme Lord and saw him, he was so satisfied that he refused to accept any material benediction. The intelligent person does not worship the demigods or ask favors from them. He directly becomes Krishna conscious, and if he has any desire for material benefit, he asks Krishna, not the demigods. So many important points here again. First of all, where does Vidyādhara return? To his abode. Where is his abode? In the spiritual world, in the material world?
The spiritual world.
Material world.
Material world. See, it is material world because he says heavenly planets. Heaven also is still the material world. It's not the spiritual world, right? So he says, okay, I want to go back to my abode. I want to go back to the heavenly planet. So Krishna gives him permission and he leaves. Another important thing here is Bhagavad Gita says that the less intelligent want to achieve material benefits. So again, the same thing here, no? We saw how this person, he wants to make his stay within the prison house comfortable. So person is being less intelligent. So it's less intelligent to ask for material benefits because ultimately then that is not going to take you to the spiritual world. Material benefits means you are just making your stay more comfortable within the prison house. So what is the point? So therefore, Krishna says that they are less intelligent. So people worship different demigods for different material benefits. We know that very well, no? Students before the exams, they want to worship goddess Saraswati. A businessman, if he wants good profits, he worships goddess Lakshmi. If one wants a very beautiful wife, then he worships Lord Shiva. If one wants a good husband, one worships goddess Durga. So these are all material benedictions that materialistic people pray for, no, but they are less intelligent. And another point important here is demigods have no power to bestow material profit. So what does it mean? That even if the demigod gives you some material benefit, it is done only after Lord Krishna or Lord Vishnu gives the sanction, gives the permission. So they get the benedictions from the demigods through the permission of Lord Vishnu or Krishna. So Krishna or Vishnu, they have to sanction it. Only then the devatas can give a material benediction. Okay, and that material benediction can last only for short period of time or for a certain period of time. It is not an eternal benediction. It is not an eternal blessing. For example, Ravan did so much of tapasya to get some boons from Lord Shiva, but how long did those boons last? Eventually he was killed by Lord Ram. Hiranyakashipu, he did so much of austerity, right? He got those boons from Lord Brahma, but how long did those boons last from Lord Brahma? Eventually he was defeated by his own 5-year-old son because he was more spiritually advanced and he was killed by Narasimha Dev. So material benedictions last only for a certain period of time. They are not eternal. But when you get spiritual benedictions, then those benedictions are eternal. Therefore, it is less intelligent to pray for material benedictions. Now, the point here is, even if you have material benedictions, if you are attached to material benedictions, still you should worship Krishna. Why? Because there is a difference here. What is the difference when Krishna gives you a material benediction and the demigods give you a material benediction? What is the difference? The difference is the demigods will only give you the benediction that you want, if you have, of course, if you deserve it, no? Because Hiranyakashipu did so much of tapasya, then Brahma gave him those benedictions. But Hiranyakashipu's heart was not cleansed from material contamination. But when Krishna or Vishnu give you a material benediction, they first will clean your heart from material contamination and then they will give you the material benediction. So the example here is that of Dhruva Maharaj. Now Dhruva Maharaj, he wanted a kingdom even greater than that of his great grandfather Brahma, no, because his stepmother didn't allow him to sit on his father's lap. So therefore Dhruv was very, very angry and he said, I want a kingdom even greater than that of my great grandfather Brahma. So with that material benediction, he started to meditate. No, he was praying, he was chanting. And ultimately the Lord appeared before him. No, Prishni Garbha, the four-handed Vishnu form, Prishni Garbha, he came before Dhruva face to face. And then Dhruva realized that what I have been praying for was just some broken pieces of glass, he says. He said that I don't want those benedictions anymore. They're just broken pieces of glass. He realized that what he can actually get, no, bhakti is so much more greater than having the so-called kingdom greater than Lord Brahma. But of course, he was granted that wish, that desire of his was fulfilled. That's why he was given the Dhruv planet, which is a spiritual planet within the material world. In that sense, it is greater than the planet of Lord Brahma also, because even Lord Brahma's planet is destroyed. It is a material planet. It is the highest planet in the material world, but at the time of complete dissolution, Brahma Loka also is destroyed. But that Dhruv planet, it is not destroyed. It remains even at the time of complete destruction. In that sense, it is superior to the planet of Lord Brahma. So he got the planet better than that, got that kingdom better than that of his great grandfather. But at that time he didn't want it. That is the point, because his heart was cleansed of material desires. So even if you have material desires, it's better to pray to Kṛṣṇa, because Kṛṣṇa will first cleanse your heart and then he will give you your material benedictions. That does not happen with the Devatas. So this explains why there are so many gods, because of course Kṛṣṇa is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but there are different administrators in the universe who are appointed for different departments, no? Just as how you have different ministries within working under the president of the country. You have the Foreign Affairs Ministry, you have the Home Ministry, you have the Finance Ministry, etc., etc. Like that, you have these different devatas who are taking charge of different departments. See, these verses explaining how this whole thing about Kṛṣṇa and the Devatas work is explained by Kṛṣṇa himself in the Bhagavad Gita. So text chapter 7, text 20 to 23. Those whose intelligence has been stolen by material desires surrender unto demigods and follow the particular rules and regulations of worship according to their own nature. So Kṛṣṇa is saying that their intelligence has been stolen by material desires, they are the ones who worship the demigods, the devatas. Then what Kṛṣṇa says, I am in everyone's heart as the super soul. As soon as one desires to worship some demigod, I make his faith steady so that he can devote himself to that particular deity. So what Kṛṣṇa is saying, he is situated in the heart of every living entity as the super soul. So as soon as one has the desire to worship a devata, Kṛṣṇa is not this envious God who is saying that, oh, you should worship only me, you should not worship the others. He is not envious, no. He is saying that when one desires to worship some demigod, I make his faith steady so that he can devote himself to that particular deity. Then, endowed with such a faith, he endeavors to worship a particular demigod and obtains his desires. So Kṛṣṇa makes the faith steady of the person who wants to worship another devata. And then when that person has his faith is now steady, and he worships a particular devata, and then he obtains his desires. Then Kṛṣṇa says, but in actuality, these benefits are bestowed by me alone. So whatever one is getting from a devata is actually being bestowed by Kṛṣṇa, because Kṛṣṇa has to sanction it. Kṛṣṇa himself is saying this in the Bhagavad Gita. Okay. And then Krishna goes on to say, men of small intelligence worship the demigods, and their fruits are limited and temporary. Those who worship the demigods go to the planet of the demigods, but my devotees ultimately reach my supreme planet. So why Krishna is saying that their fruits are limited and temporary? Because the devatas themselves are temporary. They are living in the higher planetary systems in Swarga Loka, but Swarga Loka, heaven, is also still the material world, which means it is going to be destroyed at time of destruction. But Goloka and Vaikuntha, the spiritual world, that always remains. So therefore, if we worship Krishna, then ultimately we can go to the spiritual world where we eternally can enjoy bliss. No, but material world, if we go to the planet of the devatas, then it will be destroyed again. So we are still within the prison house, we are still within that jail. So how does this work? Krishna says he is the super soul in the heart of all the living entities, which means he's the super soul in the heart of the devatas as well as the conditioned souls. No, so he is putting the faith in this conditioned soul because he has this desire. Krishna, as the super soul, he is strengthening his faith, and also Krishna is giving the potency to the devata to fulfill the desire of this demigod worshipper. So he is getting this benediction here, and Brahma is giving the benediction to this particular jiva, but actually it is Krishna who's making that connection. This is what Krishna is explaining in this section from chapter 7. Yeah, Shreya?
Yes, so if Krishna is ultimately, sanctioning, then what's wrong in asking from a demigod? Because anyway, Krishna is sanctioning it. So what's the difference between asking from directly Krishna versus the demigod?
Yeah, because when you ask directly from Krishna, Krishna purifies the heart before you get the benediction. But when you pray to a devata, devata is not going to purify your heart before he gives you that benediction. Of course, after Krishna sanctioning it. Like Ravan's heart was not purified, Hiranyakashipu's heart was not purified, but they got those benedictions. So when you ask from Krishna directly, he first purifies your heart, like he did with Dhruva.
Mm.
Shri Radhe Hari Devidasi.
Hare Krishna questions. One question, Prahlad's mother, when she told him not to sit on her father's lap, is that a mode of envy or a mode of jealousy? Second question, if demigods cannot give you the boon, only Krishna can, and Krishna through them, have your faith in the demigods more strengthened. Does that mean that we should never go to demigods and pray to them? Only pray to them for Krishna consciousness, nothing else, and knowing the fact that they can never actually give you anything, and anything that's been given by them is given by God Himself.
Okay, so Dhruva's stepmother wanted the kingdom for herself and wanted the kingdom for her son. So she was possessive, and therefore she prevented Dhruv because he was the first wife's son. No, so she wanted that her husband is more close to herself and her son. That's the reason why she did not allow Dhruv. The stepmother did not allow Dhruv to sit on the father's lap. And she told him that if you want to sit on that lap, then you have to be born from my womb. Okay, so she was thinking that she is most important, right? That's the attitude that she had. Coming to your second question, if one wants to pray to a devata, if one has a natural inclination towards a particular devata, then you have to pray, we have to pray ideally for spiritual benefits, not for material benefits. Because material benefits, again, when we pray to the devatas, they give it to us, but it is only temporary. So we ask them for spiritual benefits, and like that we can be spiritually benefited, and those benedictions can be eternal. For example, the gopis, they prayed to Katyayani Devi, Durga Devi, but they prayed so that they can have Krishna as their husband, right? So because they are asking for Krishna, then it is allowed. So when we pray to the devatas, because we may have a natural devotion in our heart for a particular devata, then we make sure that the benedictions we are asking is spiritual, not material.
Okay, thank you. But is that jealousy or enviousness?
What, the Dhruv?
Yes.
It's just that it is possessiveness. She was
So,
possessive.
no jealousy, no enviousness, right?
I don't know. I'll have to read that part. If there was jealousy or envy in her part, I don't know that. I'll have to read that section and see what it says. Yeah, Mr. Shantaram Latkar, your hand is raised.
I have read a shloka somewhere, but I don't remember where. Akashat patitam toyam sagaram prati gacchati. Sarvadeva namaskaram keshavam prati gacchati. So when you pray to any god, it ultimately goes to Keshava. If that is so, why the distinction between the demigod and the Supreme God himself? Because anything you do will ultimately go to Supreme God only.
Yes, but the point is, what are you praying for? So when we pray, let's say we are praying to a devata, the prayer will go to Vishnu because ultimately Vishnu has to sanction it. No, so we are praying. Let's say we are praying to Goddess Durga to get a good husband. Now that prayer is forwarded to Krishna because he has to sanction that desire. The bottom line here is, what are we praying for? Usually we pray to the devatas for material desires because you have different devatas for different departments, right? When somebody wants to do well in business, he will never pray to Goddess Saraswati. He will pray to Goddess Lakshmi because she is in charge of the finance department. So the point is, these different devatas are appointed for different purposes, and people usually pray to these different devatas to get their different material desires fulfilled. But if we are praying to the devatas for a spiritual benediction, then that is fine, that is sanctioned, that is allowed. That is allowed. But why? Because anyway, we are going, as you yourself said, ultimately it is going to Krishna, right? So when we, even if we have a material desire, if we pray to a devata, he is getting it, for the prayer gets forwarded to Krishna and Krishna sanctions it and we get it. But problem here is, our heart is not purified of the material desires. But when you pray to Krishna, he will purify your heart and then give you that benediction. And another beautiful thing about this is, when you pray to the devatas for a spiritual benediction, then the devatas redirect you to Krishna. There are so many such examples. For example, there was this devotee of Lord Shiva. He was a very devout devotee of Lord Shiva, and he prayed to Lord Shiva, I want the greatest thing that exists. So Lord Shiva told him, if you want the greatest thing that exists, go to Sanatan Goswami. Now Sanatan Goswami is a Vaishnava, right? And he's a pure devotee. So this devotee of Lord Shiva, he says, okay, because Lord Shiva is sending me, I go to Sanatan Goswami. He went to Sanatan Goswami and he said, give me the greatest thing that exists. So Sanatan Goswami said, there is this touchstone, right? Touchstone means whatever you touch with that touchstone will turn into gold. Or any metal you touch with it will turn into gold. So he says that's a very powerful thing to have. Imagine he can become the most powerful person with that touchstone. So where is it? He says it is there in the garbage bin outside. So you can take it and you can go, he says. So he's very happy. He goes, he takes that touchstone, and then he says, hold on, wait a minute. If this is the best thing, then how come he has it in the dustbin? How come it's in the garbage? Definitely he has something better to give me. So he goes back to Sanatan Goswami and he says, there is something better, definitely. Please give me that. Something that is better than this touchstone also. So he says, now you are ready. So he says, go have a bath and come back. And he comes back and then he initiates him and he gives him the Maha Mantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So even the devatas, if you are sincere, then even the devatas will redirect you to Krishna because even they want you to go back to the spiritual world. Even the devatas want you to go back to the spiritual world. So in this case, just as how Shiva redirected his sincere devotee to Sanatan Goswami, if one is sincere, then even the devatas will redirect you to Krishna. There are many such cases. If you hear devotees, they'll tell you their experiences also. Before coming to Krishna consciousness, most of the devotees were engaged in worshipping some other devatas. But how that devata somehow or the other redirected them to Krishna, you will see. If you just hear how I came to Krishna consciousness, no, the devotees will relate to you their own personal experiences. So even the devatas will redirect you to Krishna if you are sincere. The point here is when you get a boon from a devata, that boon is temporary. Because usually people pray to the different devatas for material benedictions. And praying for material benedictions means you are still within the present house. That's the point. That's the point here. Of course, the devatas is not a joke to become a devata. They are very, very highly elevated personalities. As a Vaishnava, we respect all the devatas. But the point here is, what do you want? You want to make your jail more comfortable, or you want to come out of the jail? What is it that you want? That's what matters. Okay, Shreya, you have your hand raised.
Then what exactly is the purpose of the demigods then, So just to help Krishna?
They are all serving Krishna. No, Krishna has them as their different, they are in charge of different departments. And also, if somebody is not attracted to Krishna, somebody is attracted to some other devata, then Krishna says, okay, you like so-and-so devata, then I will fulfill. Because at least you're surrendering to a devata instead of surrendering to a demon. No? For example, if one is working in an office and he wants to get a promotion. So there are two ways. He prays to his favorite devata, my dear Lord, please help me get a promotion. Or the other thing is he surrenders to demoniac tendencies. He plays dirty politics, he plays dirty games. Maybe he will get the person murdered also, so that somebody else doesn't get the promotion. Who knows? So at least he is surrendering to a devata and not surrendering to a demon or demoniac tendencies. So therefore Krishna says, okay, at least you're surrendering to a devata. And once you get, your faith gets steady, then your thing is sanctioned by me, you get the benediction. But the point is that benediction that you get is only temporary.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Yeah, Shailesh?
So, since Krishna, whenever you ask him for something, even if it is a material desire, he cleanses your heart. So, does that mean that you also get liberated?
If your heart, how much is your heart cleansed depends on how much is your desire to get your heart cleansed, because it's proportional. Krishna says, as you surrender unto me, I reward accordingly. So it's in proportion. The more you get serious, the more Krishna is cleansing your heart. The more you chant the holy name, more you're wiping the dust off the mirror of the heart. So it is not something that you do once and it's done, and it's a lifetime process. Bhakti means lifetime process, every single day. Your sadhana, your minimum, I say 16, but I'll always remember 16 is the minimum. It's not the maximum. So minimum 16 rounds. It's an everyday thing. As long as we are alive, we are engaging in these services, and the heart is being cleansed of the dust. And if we, at the time of death, we can remember Krishna, then success. You're back home, back to Godhead.
What I was trying to say is that, like, when, of course, it might be difficult for us to go to that level, but when Maharaj Dhruv, he comes to that stage when he could have had that material benediction from Krishna, and he then he opts for not taking the material benediction, and just he is happy in itself. But then in that at that stage, is he then liberated?
Yeah, he is liberated. He is liberated. He opted not to take it, but he got it anyway. The Lord anyway gave it to him, because that's how he got that Dhruv planet. He didn't want it at that time, but anyway he got it. But he is liberated, because remember that planet Dhruv is a spiritual planet within the material world. So yes, he is in a spiritual planet, so he is liberated.
Basically, if you ask anything from Krishna and he gives it to you, you get liberation plus material benediction.
Oh yes.
But
So it can't get better than that.
Disadvantage, I feel. He takes so much time in even fulfilling the material benediction.
What?
Yeah, but
what's that?
He takes a really long time in fulfilling any material benediction.
Yeah, the
but
thing is,
I
because
would
see,
assume
that's
that
why it's not cheap. No? We say that surrender. Many people they say ISKCON mein you have to give up onion garlic, you have to this, there are many rules and regulations. But the point is, it's not cheap. It's not cheap, right? It's who is more easier to please, the president of the country or or somebody who's working, let's say, as an accountant in the court, or a clerk in the court, who is more easy to please? But by pleasing whom, you'll get more benefit. Maybe the clerk is very easy to please compared to the judge, but you get more benefit by pleasing the clerk, or you get more benefit by pleasing the judge. It takes time, but you get the most. Shailesh, you have your hand raised?
It was just from before, but I would like to say liberation is worth it. And if you surrender to Krishna and you're with him in his domain, then there's nothing like it, I think.
Exactly. So
Nothing.
now that you have realized this, do what it takes. Do what it takes. Okay. If you want to reach the peak of the mountain, then you have to start your journey, right? So you start your journey, whatever it takes, just do it. So say here, we have to understand the demigods are not in competition with Krishna, but are in a progression to him, because Krishna strengthens the faith and he's also sanctioning it through the demigod. So therefore, it's not a competition, but they are in progression to Krishna. We should not misunderstand. Yeah, Shivani, you have your hand raised.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Yeah. So is the Brahma Loka also in spiritual world?
No, Brahma Loka is in the material world. It is the highest planet in the material world. It is still material world. Brahma Loka
But
is
yet,
destroyed.
oh, okay. So, but yet Dhruv Loka is in the spiritual world. It's never.
Dhruva Loka is within the material world, but it is a spiritual planet within the material world. That's an exceptional, extraordinary feature of Dhruva Loka. The geographical location is within the universe. Okay, geographical location within the universe, within the material universe, but it is a spiritual planet within the material universe. It is an exception to the rule.
Wow. So that, I mean, that benediction and Dhruv God is much higher than position of Brahma.
Oh,
In one
definitely.
sense.
Of course,
Right?
yes. That's
Yeah.
what he wanted, right? That's what he wanted, and he got it. Initially, he wanted that.
Amazing. Thank you.
Later,
Hare
he
Krishna.
didn't want it, but initially, that was his desire. So, although later he didn't want it, still Krishna gave it to him.
Wow. Okay. Thank you so much, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Vidyādhara, awaiting Krishna's permission to return to the heavenly planet, said, "Now, because I have been touched by your lotus feet, I am relieved of all kinds of material pangs. You are the most powerful of all mystics. You are the original supreme personality of Godhead. You are the master of all devotees. You are the proprietor of all planetary systems, and therefore I am asking your permission. You may accept me as fully surrendered unto you. I know very well that persons who are constantly engaged in chanting your holy name attain release from all sinful reactions, and certainly persons who are fortunate enough to be personally touched by your lotus feet are freed. Therefore, I am sure that I am now relieved of the curse of the Brahmana simply by seeing you and being touched by your lotus feet." In this way, Vidyādhara got permission from Lord Krishna to return to his home in the higher planetary system. After receiving his permission, he circumambulated the Lord and offered his respectful obeisances unto him, and then he returned to his heavenly planet. Thus, Nanda Maharaj was relieved of the imminent danger of being devoured by the snake. Yeah, Shailesh?
But he is aware of the fact that by surrendering to Krishna, he can go to the spiritual world, but he opts to go to his heavenly planet. Why does he do that?
Yeah, so he may have some duties that he has to fulfill as a demigod, as a devata, before he can progress to the spiritual world. Because also, of course, Brahma, for example, he has to live his 100 years before he can complete his duration, right? So I think that he probably has his duties that are still pending, and then therefore he says, I want to go back to my abode. Okay. The cowherd men who had come to execute the ritualistic function of worshipping Lord Shiva and Ambika finished their business and prepared to return to Vrindavan. While returning, they recalled the wonderful activities of Krishna. By relating the incident of Vidyādhara's deliverance, they became more attached to Krishna. They had come to worship Lord Shiva and Ambika, but the result was that they became more and more attached to Krishna. See, exactly what we were discussing. When you are sincere and you pray to a Devata, then the Devata will redirect you to Krishna. And this is what has happened with these cowherd cowherd men. They came to worship Lord Shiva and Ambika, but because they are pure devotees, eventually they ended up becoming more attached to Krishna. So this is exactly what we were saying, and this is exactly what we are reading here. Again, let's read this. By relating the incident of Vidyādhara's deliverance, they became more attached to Krishna. They had come to worship Lord Shiva and Ambika, but the result was that they became more and more attached to Krishna. Similarly, the gopis worshipped the goddess Katyayani to become more and more attached to Krishna. It is stated in the Bhagavad Gita that persons who are attached to worshipping demigods like Brahma, Shiva, Indra, and Chandra for some personal benefit are less intelligent and have forgotten the real purpose of life. But the cowherd men, inhabitants of Vrindavan, were no ordinary men. Whatever they did for Krishna. If one worships demigods like Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma to become more attached to Krishna, that is approved. See, the same thing we just discussed few minutes back. Again, I'll read this. Whatever they did for Krishna. If one worships demigods like Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma to become more attached to Krishna, that is approved. But if one goes to the demigods for some personal benefit, that is condemned. After this incident, on a very pleasant night, Krishna and his elder brother Balaram, who are inconceivably powerful, went into the forest of Vrindavan. They were accompanied by the damsels of Rajabhumi, and they began to enjoy their company. The young damsels of Raja were very nicely dressed and anointed with pulp of sandalwood and decorated with flowers. The moon was shining in the sky, surrounded by glittering stars. The breeze was blowing, bearing the aroma of Mallika flowers, and the bumblebees were mad after the aroma. Taking advantage of the pleasing atmosphere, Krishna and Balaram began to sing very melodiously. The damsels became so absorbed in their rhythmical song that they almost forgot themselves. Their hair loosened, their clothes slackened, and their garlands began to fall on the ground. So this is another incident that happened later. The first incident that we read of Vidyādhara happened on Shivratri. This has happened on Holi. At that time, while Krishna, Balaram, and the damsels were so much absorbed, almost in madness, a demoniac associate of Kuvera, the treasurer of the heavenly planets, appeared on the scene. The demon's name was Śaṅkhacūḍa, because on his head there was a valuable jewel resembling a conch shell. Just as the two sons of Kuvera had been puffed up over their wealth and opulence, they did not care for Narada Muni's presence. This Śaṅkhacūḍa was also puffed up over his material opulence. He thought that Krishna and Balaram were two ordinary cowherd boys enjoying the company of many beautiful girls. Generally, in the material world, a person with riches thinks that all beautiful women should be enjoyed by him. Śaṅkhacūḍa also thought that since he belonged to the rich community of Kuvera, he, not Krishna and Balaram, should enjoy the company of so many beautiful girls. He therefore decided to take charge of them. Another classic example of how pride comes before a fall. In the previous case, Vidyādhara was proud of his beauty. It led to his fall down. He took the body of a snake. In this case, again, this particular person, he is thinking, Śaṅkhacūḍa, he is thinking that he should enjoy with the girls, he should enjoy with the gopis, not Krishna and Balaram, because he is the associate of Kuvera. So therefore he thinks that he is proud of his wealth. No, he is proud of his wealth, and now it's going to lead to his fall down. He appeared before Krishna, Balaram, and the damsels of Vraja and began to lead the girls away to the north. He commanded them as if he were their proprietor and husband, despite the presence of Krishna and Balaram. Being forcibly taken away by Śaṅkhacūḍa, the damsels of Vraja called out the names of Krishna and Balaram for protection. The two brothers immediately began to follow them taking up big logs of shala wood in their hands. Don't be afraid, don't be afraid, they called to the gopis. We are coming at once to chastise this demon. Very quickly they reached Śaṅkhacūḍa. Thinking the brothers too powerful, Śaṅkhacūḍa left the company of the gopis and ran in fear for his life. But Krishna would not let him go. He entrusted the gopis to the care of Balaram and followed Śaṅkhacūḍa wherever he fled. Krishna wanted to take the valuable jewel resembling a conch shell from the head of the demon. After following him a short distance, Krishna caught him, struck his head with his fist, and killed him. He then took the valuable jewel and returned. In the presence of all the dancers of Raja, he presented the valuable jewel to his elder brother Balaram. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport of the 34th chapter of Krishna, Vidyādhara liberated and the demon Śaṅkhacūḍa killed. So Śaṅkhacūḍa, his name is Śaṅkhacūḍa because he has this Shankha, this jewel that resembles a conch on his head, which Krishna took and presented to his brother Balaram after he killed Śaṅkhacūḍa. So on that note, by the mercy of Sri Guru and Sri Krishna, we come to the end of today's presentation. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Do we have any questions or comments?
I have a question, Mataji. Since
Yes.
we were talking about food today, why do we consider the black urad dal as non-sattvic food?
The black
Urad dal.
urad dal is acceptable. Red dal, masoor dal is something that Vaishnavas or in ISKCON we don't have.
Black, so some people say black also when you fast, do not eat that. They say that.
Okay, so why some people say that is because it is very high in protein, and it is so high in protein that it is considered to hinder with your meditation, and therefore during some special days perhaps some people do not consume it. But in ISKCON it is allowed as far as I know. Masoor dal is prohibited in ISKCON.
Oh, okay.
Mataji,
Okay.
why is masoor dal prohibited in
Yeah,
in the
because
ISKCON?
masoor dal is very high in protein, so it is considered to be equal to
Also.
eating meat.
Oh.
So we don't, the masoor dal we should not even offer to the deities.
Okay.
We don't
Thank you.
offer them to the deities.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Shailesh?
Kuvera is a demigod per se. So why would he have demonic associates? And is there any background that we know about Śaṅkhacūḍa?
No, Kuvera's brother Ravan himself is a demon, no. His family member only is a demon. So associates, why not?
But that was his brother, so there is no option. So is he willingly associating with demonic?
Oh, you're thinking why he is associating with them. Okay, that's a question you will have to ask Prabhu Nirantara.
Okay.
Okay, it's beyond my range. So you
And
can
is
write
there
to him
any
and ask
background?
him. I'm not aware of any such thing, actually. I don't know. So you can write to him. His email is nirantaradasa@gmail.com. He would be very happy to answer your question. Priyanka?
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. I think we were talking about the Brahmana today. So, in my family, there are Mundan ceremony, that head shaving, and then there is a thread ceremony which is called Janau. So, and there are people in the relatives, they do not follow, they consume meat, but they do perform whatever the rules of like whatever is done during the thread ceremony. Are there any benefits of wearing the Janau thread, or because that is the day when they officially become Brahman. That ritual is called for making them officially Brahman.
Actually, the Janyo ceremony is something that marks the beginning of student life. That particular samskara, where they put the thread for the boys, is the beginning of student life. When the children would go to the Gurukul, that begins their student life. That time they would wear that thread, and then the spiritual master would take all the boys. They shave their head, right? They shave their head, they put the thread, and it begins their life of brahmachari, not life of a Brahmin. So it's the beginning of student life. The other thread that they receive at the time of second initiation, that makes them that makes them a Brahmin, because that gives them the in ISKCON, when we receive second initiation, then the men receive the thread, the Brahmin thread. That is a Brahminical thread which makes you a Brahmin. But the Janyau, which is given to all the boys in Hindu culture, as far as I know, marks the beginning of student life actually. It's not the beginning of Brahmin life. It's the beginning of Brahmachari life.
Oh,
Okay. Shreya?
Yeah, just like the end of the chapter, how Krishna is so kind that he just took out that conch shell from Śaṅkhacūḍa's head and, kept it on Balaram rather than him having. He actually killed him, but then he gave it, it's like him giving credit to Lord Balaram.
Yeah, it's described that he didn't give it to the gopis because then again, if he gives to one, then the other will feel bad, like that. So he gave it to Balaram. That's why he didn't give it to the gopis. Okay. Are we ready for the test? Your link is in the chat.